What's going on, people? Just closed my dog's head in the door. Anyway, so it's been a while. What's up? Hope everybody had a good Christmas. New Year's is coming up. All that jazz, cool deal. Anyway, video. So, short update on the PT Cruiser. We got the head back from the machine shop. They cleaned it and resurfaced it for us. I think they did a pretty good job. Looks good to me. We're gonna put that together. We're waiting on some parts coming. Hopefully they'll come in within the next couple days. But also, big update. Just picked this stuff up yesterday. I got mobile sandblaster. So I've been talking about this for like 2 videos now. I found these on both the things I'm gonna show you. Found them on Facebook Marketplace. They were a good deal. I scooped this up for 30 bucks. So I feel like that's a pretty good deal. It should do everything that I want it to do. We're gonna do the engine bay and we're gonna do some of these parts from the front suspension. So that should be all good. Sorry, my thing that I'm holding here just kind of went limp on me. It happens every now and again. Everyone has that issue sometimes. Anyway, so that should get that job done for me. I just want to sandblast some stuff. I'd prefer to have a cabinet, like a sandblasting cabinet, especially for parts, because you know you can, as you're using it, it's basically collecting all the media that you use, and you can keep using it until the media kind of just wears out. But we're gonna try and we'll get some plastic and stuff whenever we do the engine bay, and we'll try and wrap the car up pretty good in plastic, and then I'll just get in the engine bay and try and do it that way. We'll see how it goes. I don't really know how well it's gonna be. I've used one of these before. It worked okay, but we'll see how it goes. But for 30 bucks, I couldn't really pass it up. So we're gonna use that. Then I, of course, got a parts washer. I'm pretty excited about this. This is a 20 gallons parts washer. I got this for 30 bucks or 40 bucks, 30 bucks, 40 bucks, I can't remember. Anyway, I got it. It works, everything's good. I got it plugged in right now. And you just flip this on, you can hear the pump turn on. So it'll siphon the liquid, that'll all come out of here. And then I went and picked up some brushes and some gloves today from Home Depot. So we'll be able to clean up some of these parts. But I'm gonna fill it up right now with all the solvent and everything, make sure everything's pumping through and all that. But the parts need to be pressure washed first before I put them in here. You might be thinking, well, that's a little bit counterproductive. Why pressure wash them when you're just gonna clean them in the parts washer? Yes, a parts washer is for cleaning parts, but the solvent that you use in a parts cleaner normally costs quite a bit of money. So like, I personally like to use mineral spirits, but to be honest with you, I couldn't afford to fill this thing with mineral spirits. So what I'm doing is I bought 2 big 2.5 gallon things of Simple Green, and I'm gonna pour that in there. And then if I have to dilute it at all, I'll dilute it. But back to my point, the cleaner that you put in here, the solvents that you put in here are normally pretty expensive, and they do wear out. Like, as much as you think like, oh, it's a chemical, it's not gonna wear out, the more dirt and grime and oil and all that kind of stuff that you contaminate the solvent with, the less cleaning power that solvent's gonna have. So you don't wanna put just parts that are covered in grease and covered in grime and covered in years worth of just thick grease and all this kind of crap. You don't wanna just throw that in there and hope for the best. You wanna like scrape that crap off, all that thick stuff. You wanna scrape all that off first. And then when you scrape that off and it's still got some grease on it and still got some stuff on it sitting there, that's when you can put it in the parts washer and really scrub it and with the solvent and everything like that. But you wanna make sure you get all that big, thick, clunky crap off of it first. So we'll pressure wash all the parts tomorrow and we'll clean them tomorrow. For you, that'll be a couple of seconds. For me, that's going to be like 12 hours. So yeah, so we'll get to that tomorrow, but I'm gonna fill it up right now. I'll show you guys that, make sure that the pump's working and all that kind of stuff. Maybe I'll try and find something that we can clean really quick, but either way, there's gonna be plenty of cleaning action going on tomorrow when I get the stuff pressure washed and ready to go. So that's pretty awesome. I'm excited about the parts cleaner. I've always wanted one. I've had them before, but this one is like mine. It's in my garage. So I'm kind of excited about that. So anyway, yeah, got some new tools, got some stuff that we can get done now. We can clean all these suspension arms up. We can sandblast them. We can reinforce them, put the new bushings in, paint them, etc., etc. And then we can get this hunk of junk. Sorry, that might have been loud. The banging on the roof, it was unnecessary as well. But anyway, we'll get this back on the ground and ready to do some more work too. I've got some big plans for it, as you guys know, so I'm excited to start doing some really cool fabrication stuff. Can't wait to start mounting the intercooler and the radiator and doing all that kind of fun stuff. So we got to get all this heavy duty crap out of the way so I can do some more fun stuff to it. Engine bay stuff is always the most fun, but yeah, so anyway, it should be fun to do the front suspension stuff anyway, especially the reinforcement and all that, but all that stuff is whatever. Anyway, yeah, so let's fill up this parts cleaner, make sure it works. Obviously the pump works, I just turned it on for you, but he sent me like a little video of it working too, so it's all good. Either way, if it doesn't work, we'll get another pump. We'll do it like an external 5-gallon bucket or something, whatever. Anyway, I got a parts cleaner. So let's fire it up. Yeah. It's not the best lighting over here. It's actually kind of dark in this corner now that I realize it, but whatever. So bear with it, bro. I'm not a huge fan of simple green. I always feel like it leaves a little bit of a residue on parts, but again, just me being honest with you, this is cheaper than pretty much everything else. This is 20 bucks for 2.5 gallons. There's like a big Zepp container, that's like $35. In my experience with like the orange citrus stuff, it leaves like a white film on everything. And if you leave anything in there to soak, it oxidizes really fast for some reason, so I don't normally mess with anything that's like orange citrus or anything like that because it kind of ruins stuff. So I just stay away from that, and that's all they had at the store. They normally have like Zepp Purple or whatever, or Zepp Crystal or whatever they call it. They didn't have that there. All they had was this and mineral spirits, but the mineral spirits only came in 1-gallon containers, and the gallon containers are like $15 a piece. So 20 bucks for 2.5 gallons. So that's why I did that. It's flowing through the nozzle now. I think I'm gonna get like another like a gallon or so and pour it in there. I don't want to dilute it too much because, you know, more concentration the better the cleaning power. So I'm gonna just get another gallon of water just to fill it up a little bit more. But it's feeding through fine. It's pouring out. I'll show you guys in a second, but I'm gonna get another gallon because it just makes me feel comfortable. Okay, so it's all the way filled up, at least to the height that I'm gonna fill it. I just covered the little filter that's on it. That should be enough for what I got going on. Once you hear like the motor quiet down a little bit, you know that you're pretty good on filling it up. But yeah, it's feeding through good. The motor sounds a lot quieter now that I've got all this stuff in here. But yeah. Should be good. I'm actually pretty excited about this. I mean, a parts cleaner is huge, man. It could save a lot of time just trying to, you know, clean it out with, you know, just some like a bucket of water or something like that. This saves a lot of time. Put it in there. You can even let it soak underneath the tray. This tray is removable, so that's cool. Put the parts up there. Have the hose running on it, so it's perfect. And then when you're done, you just collapse that hose down, shut this thing off, close the lid, and there it sits, done. It's got a little tray on the bottom for the brushes and everything, so that's good. Yeah, anyway, like I said, and I want to say like 1 or 2 videos ago, I've only got one outlet in this garage besides the garage door outlet up at the top, which I put a spool on. It's a 50-foot Husky spool or whatever, and it's got 3 outlets on the bottom over there. That's what I got plugged into right now. So I only got 1 outlet, so I'm basically running an extension cord across the car to run this, but it is what it is. That's not a big deal. Oh, my wife's home. Wife! Hi! Say hi to the camera. Anyway, so yeah. That's just the way I have to run the power right now for it, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, this is gonna be awesome. I'm really excited to get some parts cleaned in this so that way we can start doing some welding and some sandblasting. You definitely wanna make sure the parts are clean before sandblasting because you'll ruin all the media if you don't. But yeah, so I'm gonna pick this back up tomorrow. That way we could start fresh. I mean, it's a little late in the day, like my wife just got home from work, so I'm gonna spend a little bit of time with her, maybe make some dinner or something. But we'll be back tomorrow, we'll clean some parts, and we'll get those parts ready for welding, some reinforcement, some new bushings, all that party shit. Anyway, we'll see you guys tomorrow. It'll only be a second for you, so yeah, don't click off. Like, subscribe, comment. Don't click off. I'll be back in just a second, okay? Be back in a second. And we're back, and Bobby's here. Bobby, say hi.
Hi, Bobby.
He brought over a turbo for his RX-7. He picked up a, I mean, it's not a full turbo, but it's a cold side and the center cartridge.
It's a good portion of a turbo.
It's a, yeah, solid effort at a turbo. And that's his old turbo. We think that the issues he was having with all of the smoking is from the turbo. At least that was my assumption. And we kind of ran with it. And he did some looking over the car, and there was some oil in the intercooler and stuff. So kind of rolling with that might be it. So we're gonna try this out. And this is actually a good opportunity to use the parts cleaner that I was talking about last night. So we're gonna clean up all these parts, put the turbo back together, and then he's gonna install it on his car, and hopefully that fixes the issue. Which it probably won't, because it's an RX-7. And the only thing that'll fix the issue is an LS swap. So stay tuned for when we decide that the turbo didn't fix it and we decide to LS swap it. Right, Bobby? We just tore down well, 2 of Bobby's turbos to get the parts off of the good one, which is the center cartridge, from this one that had the ugly green splatter paint job, whatever, compressor housing. And then this is the bad one that we're going to take the hot side off of. Just the housing to use on this one because it didn't come with one. So I'm over here. We already cleaned the wastegate on the new turbo. And I'm over here spraying some degreaser on the turbo housing, the front housing, compressor side, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, and the oil drain tube, which is basically both of these were covered in grease. So you can see how nasty they are. We're gonna pressure wash those real quick, and then we're gonna run it through the parts washer. What am I doing? Oh. How fancy dancy it came out. Little elbow grease. Got it nice and clean. There's basically no grease on it now. Could use a little spritz of paint, but we'll decide what we want to do after that. They said helping your friends rebuild turbos and clean stuff would be fun, but I'm covered in water and grease and degreaser, and Bobby's sitting in my garage just doing nothing.
I'm fucking your tools up. I'm doing something.
But anyway, we got these pressure wash. We're gonna throw them in the parts cleaner, see how they come out after a good scrub. And we got some other parts that you want to clean too, right? Like an intake elbow or something.
Literally everything. The car. Will my car fit in the parts washer?
Your car will not fit in the parts washer.
Get a bigger parts washer.
I agree. That would be called a car wash, Bobby.
Good name for that.
That is a good name, isn't it?
Kennedy Super Service had that.
No, Kennedy Super Service doesn't have that. We don't even have service that makes you smile.
Yeah,
we have service that makes you go, fuck!
You also don't have ratcheting wrenches, you fucking Neanderthal.
We've got speed wrenches.
I don't know what that is, nor do I care, because it's not like...
Millennial. Bobby's over there not struggling at all to take the turbo apart. In fact, he's doing really well. There's no issues.
Super smooth, guys.
No issues at all. It's super smooth.
Remember to smash that like button.
Smash that like button, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell, bro. Anyway.
Just ring the bell, you fucking noob.
What did I say?
I think you said smash it or something. Stupid.
Smash the bell? Anyway. Bell. There's a bell there. We're scrubbing parts while he's over there not struggling at all taking the other turbo apart.
Just got my impact here, you know?
Just ignore the hammer sounds. That's not a hammer. That's Bobby's actually playing the drums while he's taking it apart.
Really hard.
There's no issues whatsoever. Ignore the hammer and wrench sound back there.
Oh my god. Come here. Oh,
What?
now it stopped. Oh yeah, come here. Oh, you know what? I think that is a race. But that race should be tight when it's all together. We'll find out in a minute.
If you get it off. I mean, you're getting it off fine. It's not an issue.
Is that thing still fucking on?
It's still on.
I hope it's on. Hey, like this is going great and like super smooth and I'm not having any problems at all, but do you think like keep backing it out like this once it gets towards the end of the thread you could fuck the threads up?
The housing doesn't matter.
No, it's
that
bolted into the
turbo housing?
The whirly boy holder.
The whirly boy holder. Yeah,
the housing.
I wouldn't think it would matter.
But we're using that. You don't think it'll fuck the threads up if I'm like using it as a press basically to press off the...
I don't think it will.
I don't fucking sound it.
If it does, we've got to tap and die some WD-40.
Alright, Hank.
I need a tap and die and some WD-40. I'm looking for a hammer. Do you know where the goddamn hammers are?
But Dad, what if somebody wants their steak well done?
We asked them politely yet firmly to leave.
You know what they say, stance makes her dance.
Here's the compressor housing. Actually came pretty clean. It's a little old, so it's got some stains on it and all that jazz, but we're gonna spray a little paint on it once it dries off anyway, so it should look pretty clean. But yeah, I'm doing all of the hard work. Bobby's doing the easy, really easy work.
Yeah, this isn't a fucking nightmare at all.
He's got it really taken care of over there. Okay, figured while I've got this going on over here with Bobby not struggling at all to take this turbo apart.
Oh yeah, dude, look.
What? Yeah. Yeah, it looks like it had a seal blowing in the turbo. That's definitely what it seemed like, at least, because it just didn't seem like it was consistent enough to be the engine. And it sounds awful. But anyway, I was going to use this time while we got these turbos apart to kind of like give a dumb guy's perspective on how turbos are put together. So this is the center section, or I call it the center cartridge, and this is basically where the bearings are, the shaft that feeds both wheels on the turbo. That runs through the center here with all the bearings and all the seals. This is your compression, or your compressor wheel. This is your exhaust wheel, or your turbine wheel. And exhaust gas comes through the back housing, spins this wheel, then intake air comes through the center of the turbo and it gets compressed in the compressor housing right here in the front part of the turbo. This is your compressor housing. This turbo is extremely small well, not extremely small. There are smaller turbos, but...
It's not the size of the ship, it's the motion of the ocean, right?
Yes, that is very true. This is the compressor housing for the front of this turbo. It's an HT18S, which came on a bunch of different stuff. I want to say it came on Mitsubishis and Mazdas, and apparently my mother has one. But yeah, so that's the compressor housing, and this is your compressor wheel. This fits on here like so, which we'll show.
We're doing the whole car in that 6 splatter paint job.
No, we're not ever gonna do that ever. But yeah, so we'll show it all when we put the final one together after we clean all the parts. But that is the exhaust housing right there. This is actually a pretty big exhaust housing for like a stock size turbo. I think on the S5s, the flange is a T3, if I remember correctly. This one's like a stupid Mazda flange. But yeah, so that goes on the back side of it, and your excess exhaust comes out the back, and it spins the turbo on the other side, which feeds the compressor wheel and compresses the intake air. And then boom, you've got boost and horsepower and problems. So yeah, that's how kind of a turbo works from a dumb guy's perspective. Do you have anything to add on that?
Spinny makes more vroom vroom.
Spinny does make more vroom vroom. So yeah, anyway, we're gonna keep cleaning stuff. We'll put it together, then we'll show you the final product, or as we're putting it together, we'll show you what's going on. All right, so we washed all the parts. We're getting ready to paint this compressor housing. Well, Bobby is, because he's a professional painter. He's painted cars for people like Chip Foose and who's other famous people that were on TV? American Chopper.
Tila Tequila.
Yeah, what's her name? Tila Tequila?
I think, I don't know.
Come on, that looks so much better.
Looks pretty good.
He was debating on whether or not to paint it.
Oh, you know what you should have done though?
What is that? Oh, so you can paint underneath it.
Sprayed in my face.
Couple of coats of that bad Johnny right there. Oh.
Shame it's not like a good turbo.
It's really not a good turbo, but hey.
I mean, it's a gooder turbo than what mine was.
It's good for like what, 10 PSI?
Like 13.
What did you run yours on when it was boost leaking forever? Or boost
I think
creeping?
It was hitting like 18 when the fucking anti-high boost.
Anti-high boost?
When the wastegate thing.
The anti-high boost thing. Anyway, yeah, so we're painting stuff. We're going to do some of the black flame-proof stuff, which we know is probably not going to last, but it'll look pretty for a little while. Bobby found a crack in his exhaust manifold. I don't know if you can see it. Try and show it. Yeah, you can see it right there in the corner. And he's really worried about it, but I'm not worried about it at all. I honestly feel like it's not that big of a deal, but so what I think we're going to do anyway is I'm going to weld this hole up right here. It used to have some sort of emissions jazz coming off of it. So we're going to weld this hole up. I think we're going to break this gasket off. He was trying to save it, which it's pretty beyond saving, it looks like at this point anyway. So I think we're going to grind that out too, and then we'll weld it shut. And then grind it back and all that fancy shiz.
In the comments, say if you should lay a cast iron skillet manifold down on its face like that.
It's fine.
It says it's fine. Okay.
Bobby's all worried about stuff. Don't be worried about things.
Well, this gasket is good, dude. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, you want to reuse this gasket, but you're worried about, you know, just barely doing anything to the face of it. Let's see how bad it is. Drum roll.
Oh, God. Jesus.
God and Jesus are two different people, Bobby. Yeah, it goes all the way across almost. Oh, look at that crack right here.
Can we stop looking at it now?
That one looks pretty good right there. Oh, look, it's cracked right all the way through here. Look at that, all the way around the side.
How?
I don't know. We're still working on Bobby's turbo. We painted the compressor side and the hot side of it. They actually look really nice, so it's gonna be pretty sweet when we put the turbo back together. But I figured while I got the pressure washer out, I went ahead and I pressure washed all the parts I need to clean for the Rambler. The only thing I'm not going to throw in the bin is the hubs, because there's still grease packed in there with the bearings, but everything else has been pressure washed, so we're going to put all that in there. We'll at least try and fit all of it in there so it can soak overnight, and then that way, like tomorrow or something, I can come out and start scrubbing away at it. And getting tripped up by Bobby's dog right now, and he's laughing at me, but maybe tomorrow we can scrub all of the Rambler parts and get those ready for the reinforcement welding, and to put the new bushings in them and to paint them and all that.
Back in the RX7.
And at some point we'll put the turbo in Bobby's car. But yeah, so that's what we're doing right now. He's scrubbing a couple more parts for his setup. But this is probably the best money I've spent on anything in a while.
Sick.
I know, it's so nice to have. It's just
So satisfying.
you can literally clean all the greasy ass parts that I've got laying around, which
It's
I've
like-
got plenty of greasy ass parts just laying everywhere. So
It's kind of a mind trip at first, because you're like, I keep thinking I'm like, oh, I'm wasting water, but like,
yeah, but
you're
it's
not.
just recycling. Yeah.
It's so weird.
But yeah, so it's actually been pretty sweet having this so far. So anyway, we'll be back in a minute. Well, of course, we've run into a pretty big issue, it seems like. So the turbo, yeah, Bobby has an S4 turbo, and the turbo that he got from a buddy was supposed to be a S4 too, and I don't know if they changed. We both don't know if they changed maybe the wastegate design over time, but the wastegate that came on the new turbo, the only thing that the new turbo didn't have was the rear housing. So it had this wastegate on it, and it was much cleaner and ready to go, but it has this bend in the wastegate arm, whereas the one that came on his turbo is a straight, it has a straight arm on it with no bend. The only problem with this wastegate and why we can't use it is there's basically a hole in the top of it from just rotting away. So basically it's trash at this point. So we're trying to figure out whether or not we could bend this one and make it work, but we're kind of at sort of a crossroads or a standstill, if you will, on trying to figure out what to do with this. We could either try and find somebody that has an S4 turbo that's laying around that they aren't going to use the wastegate actuator off of, or we can try and bend this rod straight and see if that'll work, which we obviously both don't know if that'll work or not. And it also, whoops. We also kind of are a little bit bummed too, because we spend so much time cleaning everything and like spraying everything. Everything's like super shiny silver, and now we're about to mess it all up. Like we've already got it all scratched up on the rod, so we're a little bummed out about what's going on with that. So I guess we're gonna try and figure out what to do from there, and then we'll, I guess, I don't know, figure it out from there and move on. But I don't really know what we're gonna do yet. So I will come back in a second and let you know. What did you say?
That's not what I said.
You said I'm in the same person. That is what you just said right
I
now.
said I'm an insane person.
I'm in the same person. That is what you just said. Bobby's inside the same person right now.
It's not inaccurate.
We're gonna call this. I'm gonna call this video quits right here because it's going on quite a while right now. I have a
fucking quitter.
lot of footage I probably have to cut down. We're bending his old wastegate rod a bunch.
We're fabricating.
No, we're not. This isn't fabricating. This is
Modifying.
Okay, we can go with modifying. I'll go with modifying. I was gonna say rigging, but this is good. Modifying.
Tomato, potato.
Yeah, potato, tomato, tomato, potato, potatoes.
Hold on. Tomato.
But anyway, so I'm gonna call this one quits right here.
If anyone needs one of these,
If you need one of those things, it's a flapper.
Yours.
Yeah, so we're gonna try and fix this. I guess we're gonna have to end up doing some more stuff to it, unless somebody wants to be really nice and generous and give us a S4 Turbo 2 wastegate that has a straight rod from an 88 Turbo 2. That'd be awesome. Which, you know, I have 30. What do I have? 37 or 38 subscribers now.
Yeah, and one of them owns an RX7, and it's me.
Right.
So.
And the only person who owns an RX7 that's subscribed to me is Bobby. So. Bobby, do you have an S4 wastegate that we could use?
I do, but unfortunately it has a hole in the...
Oh, that's true. Yeah, anyway, so I'll catch you on the next one. I'll update you when we figure out what we're going to do with this. And yeah, so anyway, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and all that jazz. Peace, dog. Say bye, Bobby.